Alright, so the time is 5:33 p.m. and we are here today to do an interview about the drug problem in Citrus County. And I have some forms for you all to fill out to give me consent to conduct this interview. So you're gonna, I don't have clipboard, but you're gonna print your name here, and then I can fill that out. So you're gonna put your name here, sorry you can't see, here, oh, I'm sorry, not there, that's me. Here, signature, and date. So you can go first. And then I'll move this out of the way.
I do it like I'm in class, this is cool.
It's kind of like that.
He's making faces at me, put him in the corner.
What's today's date?
It is
The date is, oh, the 17th.
17th, sorry.
October 17th, 2025.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You might have to show me again, because I can't see that far away.
It's okay.
So just point me in the right direction when I get there.
And then up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And can use that as reference. So you'll put your name here.
You want my birth name or what I go by?
Probably birth name. And then here, and then signature and date.
Oops.
Very nice handwriting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right. And then I have to sign these, at least. Okay. So, speaking to the camera, the guy closest to the camera is Michael Hillis. The second guy, Webb. And then on the right is
Romillda Dehn.
Romillda Dehn.
Yeah.
Alright. So this is gonna be a group interview. So whoever wants to answer first can answer. But this first question is, I'll need answers from everyone. So how long have you lived in Citrus County?
I moved here in January of 1979. I have lived a couple other places, but mainly I've been here since 1979.
Okay.
So I don't know how many years that is because I'm old.
I'll calculate it later.
I was born and raised here from 1991, so 34 years.
Okay.
Always and forever.
So 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, next question. How would you describe your attitude toward drugs and or drug addicts?
Oh, well, I used to do a lot of drugs. I think it is I wouldn't say a disease, but it is an illness, I guess, of the mind, being addicted to something. I would never consider myself addicted because I was able to put it down. But I mean, I know some people who just cannot put it down. So I mean, it's an illness, I guess. I wouldn't say disease because I feel like disease is something that's like cancer or
Yeah,
something like that. But I think drugs is more like in your head. It's an illness.
yeah, like a disease in a sense, like a mental,
Yeah,
because it is a chemical.
Yeah, you can't become physically dependent on it, but it's a choice. You don't choose to get cancer. You don't choose to get, I don't know, I can't think of anything else, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Lupus, you don't choose to get that stuff. You choose to get involved in drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna agree with Steven. I did a whole lot of drugs in the past. Are we allowed to say if we do anything right now?
Yeah, you can say.
Because I
whatever
have
you
my
want.
medical marijuana card, so I definitely smoke. But I don't do the drugs that I used to do. And that was definitely, I have a lot of mental illness. And I do think it stems from that. I don't think it's a disease either. I think it's, but once you're in that realm, it's very hard to get out because you think you're doing something good for yourself with your mental illness, but you're really not. You're just covering up with a Band-Aid with the drugs. So as much as a lot of people that I know that have done a lot of bad things, have done a lot of bad drugs, I should say bad things. I don't have a problem being around. You said we're supposed to explain. What was the last part we were supposed to explain? Sorry.
Attitude towards drugs.
Yeah.
And drug addicts.
Yeah, I don't have an attitude against anyone who does them because I've been there and understand it. But I do wish that a lot of them would get the help that they so richly need and deserve to get.
I will second that part. Yeah, I don't have any negative feelings towards drug addicts.
Right.
I just think they should get help
Yeah.
if they want to. I mean, if not, if you're not hurting anybody else and you want to just do drugs until you die, I mean, that's your right as an American to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish they would get help.
I agree.
I can't do drugs in moderation, just a little bit casually, so I can't do them at all. And some people are probably different. I don't think everyone's like that, but
Like addictive personality.
yeah. And seeing people that are like that, there's a lot of sympathy, and so like my friends and I, we get up to often. So I don't know, sometimes it seems cool, and sometimes it seems like it comes from a really bad place of coping.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
What you just said? I can't drink. A lot of people consider drinking as a drug.
Yeah.
I don't. I think they're two separate things. But I can't drink, but I can partake in marijuana because I know how to stop. I know when I've had enough. But with alcohol, I do not want to stop, so therefore I can't even go in that route. So I just thought I'd throw that in. I don't know if you're going to hit on alcohol as a drug, but I just wanted to add that in.
Well, they're kind of related.
Yeah,
Kind of
I mean,
tied,
they're
so-
definitely related, but I don't think they're in the same realm with each other as far as, the addiction is the same.
Yeah.
But, I think alcohol is 10 times worse than just smoking weed.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's worse for alcohol because it's so readily available.
and it's harder to come off of that.
You can walk into any gas station or Walmart or anywhere and beer right in front of your face. There's commercials for beer and whiskey and all that, and it's glorified. After a sports victory, people are pouring champagne all over each other, and you don't walk into a gas station and have meth
Yeah.
at your face, you know. I mean, weed is getting there, you know. Weed is starting to. You walk in the gas station, you have fruit, you know. It's not actual weed. It's like, you know, THCA or
Yeah.
whatever it is, but you know, you don't go in and see heroin. You don't have commercials for heroin. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You have. I feel like alcohol is much more easy to fall into, and I don't know if it's harder to get out of drugs or alcohol. I think they're both a pretty slippery slope, but
Yeah.
The studies are that alcohol and cigarette smoking is actually the hardest to come off of.
yeah, tobacco too.
Compared to like cocaine
Yeah.
and meth, they say cigarettes and drinking is definitely the harder two, which surprised me
Yeah.
Yeah, that
because I've studied this subject a lot. So yeah, definitely.
that's very useful.
Yeah, same with cigarettes. I don't think you see many cigarette commercials anymore, but it's still right there as soon as you walk into a gas station. Cigarettes and now weed and alcohol, and so I think that's they look more friendly, but I think they're just as bad. Sometimes even worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've definitely had alcohol ruin relationships, and this person also smoked pot, and that didn't bother me. It was, and I was able to say no to that in that realm.
Mhm.
But the drinking was definitely what ruined the relationship, which is sad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I could go on and on, so I'm gonna let you go on your
You can
thing.
say whatever you want, and
Alright.
anything is helpful.
Okay.
And you also, I want to clarify, you don't have to share anything you're not comfortable with. If you don't, like, this is only going to be shared with pretty much my teacher and in projects. So if you don't want things known, you don't have to say it, because we can skip any of these questions.
Sorry, real long. It's time for my NAMI meeting, sorry.
Alright, so next question. You actually answered a lot of the questions already, but
Alright.
would you say that Citrus County has a drug problem? And why or why not?
Well, I've been here the longest apparently, so I'm gonna tell you, back in the 80s in Beverly Hills is where I first discovered, well, I had done some previous up north, but Beverly Hills in my teens is when I actually really got into drugs the most. And compared to Beverly Hills today, it is more of a big drug environment. We have Floral City, which there is so many people there who are on meth and things like that. And I know this isn't part of your topic, but human trafficking is a huge problem in Citrus County. People don't realize it, and a lot of what I tell people is that honestly, when you're buying like meth and things like that, you're contributing to the human trafficking, because that is how they control those kids and things. Citrus County is very, very high on the charts for drug issues. Very high, a lot higher than people realize.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw on, I was looking at the Citrus County Sheriff's Office thing. There are a lot of child molesters here. Like it's like 3 broad categories where people get arrested most often here, and it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's either drugs, animal abuse, or child molestation.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
There are certainly a lot of people on drugs here.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say it's like obvious, pretty obvious.
Yeah, I agree. There's a very big drug problem here. When I was younger, I knew a cop, and he told us all to stay away from Beverly Hills. Like,
Yes.
that was like the drug place, you know.
And it was just a hub back then, but today it's like very,
Yeah.
very drug filled. And there's good parts of Beverly Hills that are being invaded now. Like the really high end
Yeah.
neighborhoods in Beverly Hills are becoming drug infested as well, which is kind of scary. But that's where it started for me, was Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I think it is very easy to find drugs around here. Like, I haven't done drugs in 5+ years, but I guarantee I could find them today if I wanted to. Just, you know, knowing the right people, and I think it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
And we have the dispensaries are popping up everywhere here, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they're trying to fight bringing more in. And so I'm hoping that soon that they legalize marijuana for recreational, but that also opens up if the dispensaries are, because right now when you walk in the door, you have to have an ID, you have to have a card, you have to have proof that you're legally allowed to buy it. So it'd be nice for it to be recreational, but I think that'll open the door for, you know, a lot more to be brought in than it is already, and it's already really high. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think the dispensaries are needed, but I also think at the same time it's gonna affect it, you know, in a different way.
Yeah. So since you have to go early, I'm gonna skip around and choose like the questions that I want to hear you answer,
Okay.
especially.
I mean, I'll answer all the questions if you want me to just answer them first and then take off, and then they can answer them later or something. Or I can come back later after work. It don't matter, whatever works for you.
That is true. So could I ask him the questions
Mhm.
and then I will ask you guys afterwards?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry that I have
No,
to
it's
go.
okay. It's not a problem. I
Right.
appreciate that you showed up in the first place.
You gotta work, you gotta have, yeah, gotta pay your bills.
Yeah, yes you do.
Yeah.
So the next question, we might have answered this already, but what personal experience have you had with the drug problems in Citrus County? Like, is there anyone you have encountered personally?
Too many to even count. Just, I will say, I'm not gonna mention names, but I used to live with my drug dealer, and he
Oh, wow.
sold and could get a hold of anything you wanted, whenever you wanted. So me personally, it was just, I literally would just, you know, yell out his name, and he would come open my door, you know, what you want? And I mean, so it's, I think, that might be, you know, not everybody has that experience, you know, they don't live with their drug dealer, but I mean, it was just that easy for me to where I could literally be laying in my bed, wake up and just yell the dude's name, and he'd be like, all right, what you need?
Wow.
So I mean, it's drugs are definitely in abundance around here.
Mhm.
I've had many bad experiences. None, I won't say they were all bad, but a majority of them were bad. I mean, drugs can be good in moderation. I think mushrooms are good. Acid is good. You know, it can open your eyes to other experiences, but harder drugs at first seem good, and then eventually they catch up with you. But I've never lived anywhere else, so I don't know, but it is very easy here to get anything you want.
You had like your own personal drug dealer.
Oh yeah, for whatever you needed. This guy for that, this guy for that. You know.
Was it scary? Like would you say it's dangerous or?
Absolutely, the people you deal with. I've had guns pulled on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been in situations where I was like, okay, I'm not sure if I'm going home tonight. You know.
Yeah.
Just the people you deal with are not the best bunch. I mean, there are good people. You know, I'm not gonna say every person. I think I'm a good person. I like to get high. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, this can get me high different than this, so let's try what this is. And somebody would be like, hey, try this. This is fun. Mix this and this. That's fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to have fun, so I mean, I experimented with anything I can get my hands on. I don't think I ever did anything bad for it, but I was put in a lot of bad situations.
Yeah, I can so relate to that. I
Yeah.
can't wait till I get that question later, cause yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about that a little bit too.
Oh,
the
yeah.
other day. Yeah. And, let's see. We already answered that one. And if you wanna know was, have you ever personally experienced drug addiction, or do you know of anyone who has? And next one. In what ways have drugs impacted your life, either positively or negatively?
Everything about my life I feel like has been impacted. So when I was younger, my dad died at 17. He killed himself. I know, trauma dump, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
But so
I'm sorry to hear that.
and it happens. You know, I wouldn't say I'm over it, but you know, that's life. You know, you live and you die. But so when he died, I was okay. Well, fuck it. You know, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
You're
cuss.
good. You're good.
I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go have fun. You know, life is short. We all die. I'm gonna go party. And so I feel like at first it helped me get through a very tough time in my life, numbing the pain and just distracting me. But you know, I partied from age 17 to like 30, and I feel like, you know, I don't know where along the lines it went bad, but it started off really fun, and then by the time I was 30, it was like, all right, this is not fun anymore. You know, this is, I wake up every day just wanting to get high, not giving a shit about anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where, you know, but it started off fun and became bad, and I could feel the physical tolls and the mental tolls, and the people around me treating me differently, and because they could tell I was on drugs. So that's just my personal experience, good and bad.
Yeah.
But when you first start, you feel like you can conquer the world.
That is a very long time.
Yeah.
Also to party
Oh yeah.
straight.
Yeah.
And we have like 3 minutes, so there's 2 more questions.
Okay.
So you can just like say your answers.
I mean, I can speed to work. It's okay.
Okay. Still, I don't wanna make you late.
It's okay.
But why do you think drug addiction is such a widespread issue in this community? And like, what could be the cause?
I think people just glorifying it, you know, like I don't want to sound like an old person, but you know, like TikTok videos of, oh, let me just hit my vape, and you know, I don't know, I feel like people, it looks fun. It does look fun from an outsider's perspective, you know, and if you're dealing with a bunch of crap, yeah, you know, that cocaine sounds fun, you know, drinking sounds fun, smoking weed, I don't think weed is that bad, but, you know,
Yeah.
that lifestyle seems fun. Let me just go party and not worry about it, and it is fun, and that's how, you know, it gets, you get trapped,
Yeah.
and then eventually it gets a hold of you. You know, drugs are undefeated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides like Keith Richard, like, Willie Nelson.
All right, last question.
Okay.
What steps do you think could be taken to resolve the drug problem?
I don't know. I feel like if you treated it more as an illness and not as a crime, like me personally, I don't think I'm a bad person, but if the cops would have caught me with the shit I was doing, I would have been thrown in jail with bad people, and I would have
Yeah.
probably had to have become a bad person to survive in that, you know, life, because I wanted to get high, and I don't think that's a bad thing, wanting to get high, you know, trying to numb life, because life sucks sometimes, you know.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I just I think if we like, if you get caught with some kind of drug, it's like a mandatory hospital stay, or like,
Yeah.
Not jail time, you know,
Yeah,
where you're thrown in there with murderers and rapists and bad people because you like to party, you know?
mhm. And that was the last question. So it is 5:58, so you definitely gotta go, but
Yeah.
real quick,
I gotta go.
thank you very much.
Alright, yeah, no problem,
For-
thank you.
I gained a lot of insight.
Well, I appreciate it. I guess my last thoughts on it, I don't think drugs are bad. I think, just like I don't think guns are bad. I think people can abuse them, you know, if you don't know what you're doing. But I think drugs is more dangerous because it's like, it's appealing. You
Yeah,
know, and when you're a young kid who doesn't know what's going on in life and you're confused, hey, come smoke some pot. Hey, come do some coke. Hey, let's do, you know, heroin, meth, crack. You know, and just it's a slippery slope. I don't think drugs are bad, and I don't think people who are addicted to drugs are bad people. It's just I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. It's just life. Life is confusing, man.
yeah,
You know.
that's the conclusion.
And I don't know what I'm talking about, you know, I'm just some dude who thinks.
I mean, you kind of do. This is probably like one of your areas of expertise. Because
Yeah, that's
No
cool.
offense.
No, I'm taking, that's funny. Well, I appreciate it. But yeah, I gotta go to work.
yeah,
I love you guys, I just met
Can I
you,
shoot
but
you a friend request? It's
absolutely,
like you sound like you got a lot of the same answers I do.
absolutely, yeah, they got me on Facebook.
Okay.
yeah.
It was
She's
nice
Have a
to
good
meet
work.
you.
Oh, no, Mary, I will. Now, Lisa.
Thank you.
Peace out, guys.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, you're welcome, thank you for involving me.
Thank you.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Hello,
Bye,
Bye.
Jasmine. Bye, everybody
They gone.
else.
Yeah.
Bye.
They love
Be safe.
Oh,
No,
Who
actually,
left?
now that I look at it,
my mom.
Oh, she did?
no.
I don't think so. No.
But I thought they were gonna. That's why they
Oh,
came looking.
okay. Do you want to do the questions now or for us or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, okay.
So where did we? Okay, I think we left off.
The first one, you got it.
Yeah, I got the. I think we answered. Would you say that Citrus County has a drug problem?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And then, what experience have you had with the drug problems within Citrus County?
Okay,
What?
say that again.
What experience have you had? This was the personal one. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what personal experience have you had with the drug problems?
Okay. Do you want to answer?
Sure.
Okay.
I have done drugs, and I have had friends that do it, and I've lived with people that sell weed, and my friend that I worked with for more than a year was a meth head, and then he broke into my house and took my stuff, and then he gave it back. I haven't seen him again. But I don't think he would do that if that wasn't the situation. If he didn't do meth. Because he doesn't always think straight like that.
Yeah. Anything else?
These are open-ended.
Yeah.
Nah, I'll save the rest for later.
Okay.
So, the experience I've had personally with people who've done drugs, is that what you mean?
Yeah, like any personal like issues you've run into based on
I have
drugs.
I have quite a bit. let me just try to narrow it into, because I literally, like, since the 80s, I've been around a lot of drug addicts since the 80s, so I'll kind of condense what I was thinking earlier when he was talking. I have lived in a crack house, what today they would call a trap house, I guess. I'm assuming it's the same thing, but the crack house that I lived in, they were literally doing the crack. I lived with a gang of people. We were a gang. We weren't just living together. We were actually a gang. I mean, we did the illegal going and steal stuff at stores to literally return it to get the money to buy more drugs.
Oh, wow.
And that was a very scary experience, but in the middle of the night, I had left like 2 or 3 hours before this happened, and they were raided, and we were literally hiding drugs in the walls. This was a hauled out trailer that you had to step on a chair to get up into where the living room would actually be, but there was no furniture, no running water, you couldn't use the bathroom. I mean, literally, it was like you were living, it was crazy. It was crazy. And the guy who owned it, I've been almost killed by him. He apparently today, I don't know if this story is true, but he apparently was killed by someone and cut his head off. This guy was bad news. And he was in charge of all of us. And that was just one aspect. Then there was the people that I hung around with before that and after that. So I've been around a lot of people who've done a lot of different crazy things, like not just trying to kill people for drugs. We literally stole for drugs. We brought in new people to train them. I trained people how to go steal for drugs. So there was a lot of aspects that I was involved in. And then there was, like I said, the people that I hung out with before. I've lost friends because of drug-related incidents. Today, with that experience and that knowledge that I have gathered from all the times past, today, you know, knowing what we do, we go into the ministry and we feed people and we deal with the homeless. And a lot of those people are on drugs. There's no getting around it. They might say they're not, but you know they are, because I know the signs, I know the symptoms, I know the people personally. Some of the people I know very personally. And so every time you step foot onto the property to take care of these people, you're risking anything that could happen. Like, I don't know if you were there one day, but 2 guys got into a severe fight because one of them stole his drug money in the campsite. And I don't think you were out there that day.
I wasn't.
But that was a scary situation, because you never know what you're going to face when you're going around people, especially today. Back in those days, I had more control over the people I was around, because I lived in the crack house. But when they went to jail in the middle of the night from that bus, I was actually the one in charge of doing the buying, the selling, the giving, the everything. I was in charge of every aspect of that house, of that crack house. I stayed there, took care of the dogs, took care of the customers, everything. So that was a lot different for me, because I had more control. Today, I don't have the control and I don't have the ability physically to, if someone came up to me from our situation and attempted to hurt me or something, I wouldn't have the ability. So it's scary. And it's more scary today than it was when I was living in it, because I'm not living in that life anymore. So today it's a lot more scarier, because there's a lot of different drugs, there's a lot of different people, and you know, guns and all that stuff comes into contact with it. So you just never know what you're going to come up against. today. And I could go on and on about the experiences I've had. I mean, seriously, it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was already very insightful. Kind of shocked me. Because I don't know anything about.
Yeah,
drugs.
and that's just a drop in the bucket of what I dealt with. I mean, if I went into the ins and the outs of what happened in that home, in that crack house, I can't believe you're still here. I mean, I've literally had, like you were saying, I've had people try to kill me, and there was just a lot. But I was, I had all these people with me. Today, I don't have those people, and I just have my experiences to go back on. And so, yeah, it's a lot different today. I think if I was back in that crack house today, in the situation I was in today, but the way things are today with the drugs, I think it would be 10 times worse than it was when I was in it.
Mhm.
Because the drugs are 10 times worse today than they were back then. Back then, crack and coke and things like that were normal. Today, meth and fentanyl and things of that nature are 10 times worse than what I dealt with in that crack house. And going to certain cities in Citrus County to get crack was also very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. My friends went in the car and they had guns pulled on them. Luckily I wasn't there that night. But, so I've heard all kinds of stories and lived all kinds of stories. And yeah. That's why I'm so passionate today about helping them, because I know where they're at.
Mhm.
I know what they're going through.
Yeah.
I get it. Sorry.
It's okay. Got a distraction
Oh,
over there. My mom.
okay.
Yeah, it's just whatever you want to share, like as much as you think you should share.
Yeah. I think one of the last experiences that I can recall in that crack house was the guns coming at me and the car issues, being in the van with the guy who was driving belligerently, and being in cars with people who were, like, one of my best friends was on crack really bad, and I sat in a hotel room and just watched her spend her money and everybody else, and we're riding in the car with this person who's on crack. And I mean, like, I rode in cars with people who were tripping on acid, and I had no clue they had even done it, because they seemed so normal in front of me when they got to my house. And I rode all the way from Crystal River to Ocala with someone who decided to tell me almost halfway to Ocala, by the way, I just did like 4 hits of acid. Well, no wonder you see horses running next to your car. I mean, so, that's wild. It's wild. Yeah. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I can go on and on. So you gotta stop me at some point. Go, okay.
You're okay.
I wouldn't change any of it though. I had this conversation with someone just the other day. I would change different things about my life that I did, but I would never change those experiences, because those experiences brought me to being able to help people today. Because of what I went through, I know how to help people.
Yeah. It's a very thoughtful reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody wakes up and says, I want to be a crackhead today. I want to be on fentanyl and die today. I don't think anybody has that.
Yeah.
And mental health and the things that go with it are a real struggle in this county, and it brings up a lot of drug addiction, because we don't have the resources that we need for mental health. So people turn into drugs here in this county a lot because they're trying to escape what they need help with.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the drugs are never going to fix or solve what they went through. They really need the mental health aspect in this county a lot more than we need another car wash or another gas station or another bank. We need mental health facilities that are not so expensive that people can't afford them. Because that's the problem, is they want to bring in the mental health facilities, but they don't want to, they want to change the way Citrus County's done things with the drug addiction, but they don't want to do it without charging. And I'm sorry, but drug addicts, if they have the choice of putting in, of going and standing on the street corner to get money to do drugs, or standing on the corner to get money to go to a facility, they're never going to reach this goal. They're going to reach this goal because drugs are, like, they want us to eat healthier foods, but the prices of the cheap food, the prices of the bad food is a lot cheaper. So in the same aspect, you know, you either do the drugs to get rid of your mental health issues for the day, or you get money to go in a facility to get help for your mental. You're never going to reach that goal. It's too expensive. So the drugs are going to be the prominent source of help, which they're not. But, you know, that's what everybody thinks.
And like, I feel like drugs are expensive. So that's insane that like a mental health facility is more expensive than drugs.
Yes, it's ridiculous. It needs to be changed, and we're not going to get the help we need if they don't change the way they, you know, I mean, a doctor coming in to help someone with their mental health, and you're going to charge me an arm and a leg, but I can go out and, you know, get some meth for $20, and you're like $300 and $400. So I don't think that they really have, I think the people who are mental health advisors and things who've actually been in the drug world and been there and done that, which I've come across that. I was in a support group for addiction, and the leader was a previous heroin addict, so he understood the concept. But you get the doctors and stuff today who don't have any experience or knowledge in what, you know, they're going to charge you high prices because they're doctors. And I understand they went to the school for that. They spent money to get this degree. But where do you draw the line in how much you're going to charge someone for mental health so they don't go out and spend the money on drugs instead? They really need to come to grips with their prices are too high, and people are going to choose drugs every time because they're going to get the money for that quite easier.
Yeah.
It's aggravating. It is.
And it's also the issue of like struggling to make enough. Like the doctors, they might want to charge because it's hard, especially now, to be financially stable in this country. So like, but I feel like the best solution for that is to, you know, get a job that's in a hospital or something, like not specifically helping drug addicts, to make sure you're financially secure. So that way you don't have financial motivations to actually help the drug addicts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's time to go on to the next question.
Okay.
In what ways have drugs impacted your life, either positively or negatively?
It was a nice thing to have to get through. We're talking mostly about like weed, I guess. Things that aren't so life ruining long term. It was nice to have something to do to escape for a little while. It's easy to do drugs if you have something to feel sorry for yourself about, or I don't know, reasons to feel down and wallow in it. It's pretty easy to excuse yourself for doing that sort of thing.
Would you say, it mainly positively affected your life or negatively? Like, did it ruin
Overall?
Yeah.
Overall, it's for the worse. I wouldn't have done drugs. When I was in high school, I didn't like people that smoked weed. I thought it was annoying. I thought it was stupid. The culture is like lame. It's cringy. And I did drugs for the first time because I got thrown out of my house and I had to live with other people. And things were a lot more difficult than they had ever been. And my friends that I went to school with, we would just take our lunch break and we'd go and play basketball at a church where it's like we just roll up and do it and don't ask, and it's like that's not something I would do. That seems a little, but we just did it and there wasn't a problem. And I wanted to see what it was like, so I did it. Even though that wasn't the type of person I was before, I thought it was okay to do it then, and it wasn't.
So did you like fall into peer pressure?
Nah, I made the choice myself to do it. And there's something about having friends that you do drugs with, because that's the activity. Even if you play games while you're doing it, that's kind of the activity, the backbone that the hanging out is around. If you were hanging out and you didn't smoke weed, it'd kind of be, be a lot of like bitching and whining or something like that about how you can't. And there is something where you like care about each other and you want each other to do better and not have to act the way that you see each other acting, the way that you know that you're acting. But it's not really gonna happen today.
Yeah. So like doing drugs is part of the friendship?
Yeah,
Almost.
it's built in, and it sucks that we had to do this to feel all right, but that's the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hope we can all do better in the future. Sort of sentiment, just with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question was the positive or negative?
Yeah. In what ways have drugs impacted your life, either positively or negatively?
I'm gonna say both. In the beginning, I gained a lot of friends. I felt like I had a social life. I did a lot of partying, I had a lot of fun. I'm gonna admit that it was a lot of fun to do the drugs and the drinking and the partying. I really enjoyed it. But the negative came when I started losing friends to drugs, to death, car accidents. My friend getting murdered by her son. They were all on crack and drinking beer. And he killed his mom in that manner, in that mindset. So the negative isn't, you'd think it would be because it's drugs, doing a lot of partying. But for me, it wasn't. It was because I started losing people and it started affecting me in that manner. And I never did I never shot anything in me. I've never done that kind of drug.
Mm-hmm.
I did PCP, and I have some really bad hallucination experiences from that. And I still have that to this day. So that was kind of negative.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just because it was the drugs. The negative wasn't because I was doing drugs. It was because of what I was experiencing because of the drugs. The loss of friends, the hallucinations, the getting kicked out of places, losing a place to live, running out of money. I think had I been rich and was able to do whatever I wanted and had anything I wanted, other than the fact that it's not good for you to be on drugs,
Yeah.
I honestly would probably say that I didn't have a negative experience had I had access to everything I wanted. My positive was the friendships, the social life, the enjoyment of being out in the woods, you know, trash, not caring what was going on around me. To me, that was fun. So yeah, it's definitely not good, you know, if you're strung out on the street and you're homeless, which I've been there, but you know, that was for different reasons. That would definitely be a negative. But I honestly can't look at any of it as really negative except for the losing the friends, because today that still affects me. The drugs are the things I did are gone, so I don't, you know, it's just the remnant, the leftovers is what was the negative.
So like doing the drugs and like how it affected your mind, you liked how you felt when you were doing the drugs, and if nothing else went wrong, you'd say it was positive?
In my experience, yeah. Because I did, like I said, I didn't do the injections. I didn't do like heroin and meth and anything of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
The negative would be the loss of friends and you know, just losing people is really the worst of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some bad aspects to what I went through that were negative, but I can't use them as negative today because they brought me to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to say it was negative would say that the experiences that I have and I learned from what I did, you know, I'm using it for good today. So that's why I say it's not really negative. It's more, and doing drugs is never positive, especially when you're doing it to escape something. And I did it to escape my past and things that have happened to me, yeah, and that's negative too. But yeah, I learned from what I went through, so that's why it's not as negative for me as it probably would be for someone who, you know, died from it or you know, experienced really bad things from it. Yeah, me doing black magic and Ouija boards and things was 10 times worse negatively than the drug aspects. But that kind of led me to doing those things. The drugs kind of took me in those places. So I guess you could say that was kind of negative. The things that the drugs led me to was kind of negative. Not the experience of it, no. I can't do that as negative. I think you learn from your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something with it, that makes it positive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want you to be like, she's thinking it's okay to be a drug addict, but I don't really mean it that way.
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
Huh?
I feel you, I understand.
Okay, I'm like, am I explaining it right? I don't want to explain it to where it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That would be one case where two negatives do make a positive,
definitely.
besides in math.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the best math student, so.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so what do you think, or why do you think drug addiction is such a widespread issue in our community? Like, what could be the cause?
You want to go first? Or?
Okay, yeah, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it comes because you kind of just generalize if you talk about why there are a lot of drug addicts or what the problem is. I think it comes from not having a support structure and people that you can reach out to if they're friends or if they're family that are invested in seeing you do good and not throw opportunities away. Having nothing like that makes you way more predisposed to waste your time and waste your shot. And the other part of it is wanting, if you are addicted, if you're a drug addict, the other part of it is wanting to not be that, like wanting fully to make the change. Because I haven't drank in a long time, but when I was trying to quit, there was a lot of false starts, and I would work all day, and I'd tell myself that I'm not gonna drink today. Today I'll start it up again. Every time you start and you fail, it kind of becomes harder. I would still end up going and getting the alcohol, even though I was reassuring myself that I wouldn't. It would still end up the same way, and it goes against what I want to do, but I still just go ahead and do it because I don't want to commit and quit all the way when I know it could be hard and it's a change.
Yeah.
So I think it's two parts, that you have to not want to do drugs, and you also need to be in an environment where you're not just around people that also do drugs.
That made me think of something. I think one time you said when you do drugs, that becomes like your personality
Mm-hmm.
if you're addicted to drugs.
Yeah, and that's lame, but it's kind of the case
Yeah.
sometimes. I think I'm done.
Okay. I'm gonna go in the route of, this is Citrus County. A lot of people here call it Circus County. There's not a hell of a lot for the young people to do here. But that's not the only excuse we give, because I have been to, back in the 80s when I was doing a lot of it, I was going to places that were especially for young people. Like the arcade, the game rooms and stuff, and the pool tables. There was stuff for us to do, but we, today there's not as much as there needs to be, and I think that's part of it. There's not anything for young people here to do, so they do drugs because it's entertaining to be, you're young, you're impressionable. If you start out doing them with your friends, it's exciting, it's something to do, it's sociable, you relax, you're having fun, but then you cross that line where you can't stop. That's a whole different, but I think today there's just not enough for people to do, and the drugs are just so easily available that, it just, even if they would bring in more exciting things to do, we're still going to have the people, like they're about to close down the roller barn. That has been here since I was in middle school, and I'm 56 years old. It's been here for a really long time. But there were even people going to the roller barn who were, in the bathroom getting caught doing drugs. I mean, so a lot of people I know will say it's because, and if there was other people here that I knew that would say, well, there's nothing here for the kids to do at all, so that's why they turn to drugs. That's partly true. But what kind of place can they have where they'd rather go there than go out with their friends and do drugs? It's such a closed environment of what there is to do here. There's gas stations and, like I said earlier, banks, and there's businesses booming all over this county. I mean, you look in Lecanto and it's starting to boom. They're building more and more and more and more stuff for us to spend our money on. But there's still not anything to pull the kids in, pull the young people in, pull even the older the older ones in. Like my age, there's really nothing in Citrus County for a 56-year-old woman to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're at home partying, and you're eventually going to take that out into the street with you. So there's got to be something, a variety of things to do that will pull them out of that situation and make them want to go do this instead. And you just don't have that option here. And when you do, it either is too expensive or the hours are too stupid for them to, you know, I mean, like you get, you know, we're gonna close at 9, we're gonna roll up the sidewalk at 9 o'clock. Well, I'm sorry, but a drug addict will still be up at 1 o'clock in the morning doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have something more substantial in this county for people to do so that they have another choice. But if they're coming from a drug scene, going to a new place like this, they're still gonna have the drugs because it needs to be more than one city have something to do. Like there's stuff to do in Lecanto, there's places to go. But you know, then you go into Floral City where there's nothing. And that's where there's a lot of drug addicts in Floral City.
Yeah.
A lot, because there's nothing in that city to do. And people who are on drugs already and they're young and they can't drive or they don't have the money to spend, they can't go to Lecanto to go do all these fun things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's financial and it's a lack of the county doing anything to change anything. And you know, sure, we got like more restaurants, but so what? You know, you're gonna leave there and go home. There's nothing later in the night. There's nothing in the wee early morning hours to do other than go to a bar. They're the only places that are open. So you're either gonna get drunk and be on the roads, or you're gonna do drugs and be on the roads. And so yeah, the financial aspect and the lack of this county providing anything in each city, not just in one place, because people can't just drive there. And you know, especially with the gas prices and shit like it is today, you can't just go anywhere in this county, especially with the roads the way they are and they're working and there's traffic everywhere. And it all ties in together. It's, you know, we might have growth going on right now, but we don't have the right kind of growth for the drug neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And going to a bar and going to a liquor store, even after hours, you know, they have that option.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. You're still going to do something to impair your mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we need to have more options in each city in this county for them to do. Or something like central, and then have like free access to get there. Like, you know, the buses will take you there for free to get you, you know, there's gotta be more choices if they wanna get the drugs, you know, under control. They've got to have more choices and they've got to have cheaper choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's almost discriminatory because people who don't have as much money are more susceptible to getting into doing drugs.
Yep.
Like me, I'm not rich, but I make more than, you know, other people. I'm not dirt poor anymore.
Right.
But well, me personally, I am. But I have the money sometimes, usually from my mom, to go out and shop. Like, I think shopping is fun, like at Hobby Lobby in Lecanto. And I have a car. I'd say most people my age don't have a car.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to get a car. And even then, I need to get gas to be able to go places. And like, I'm in school, I have all these distractions. I don't have any time to even do drugs, to get into drugs.
Right.
But there's a lot of people in this community who don't have things like that, because there's already not a lot of jobs available.
Right.
Especially for young people, because we don't have experience. So it's really hard to get jobs. They probably don't have a job, or, you know, the students or the kids who don't have a job are more susceptible to being addicted to drugs because they can't afford a car, they can't afford transportation,
Yeah.
or even like pay for the Citrus County Transit,
Mhm.
can't afford to go to school, you can apply for FAFSA, but you need a device to apply, and you need a way to get to the college or communicate with the college.
Definitely.
So it is discriminatory
Definitely.
against people who don't have transportation or access to it
Mhm.
or money.
Exactly.
And so how are you gonna, like, there's all this talk about starting from the bottom and building yourself up. How are you gonna do that if it's so easy to dig yourself into a hole
Yeah.
instead of growing? Like, there's not a way, it's impossible
It is.
to start low,
Mhm.
to start poor and become successful
Yeah.
because of that. So it's like, it's almost a bigger issue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they put things in the way, and then they can't understand why are you guys choosing that kind of life? Well, you're not giving us any other choices.
Yeah.
And I know I talked about the dispensaries, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you've been in any of them. I know you have to have a card, so I didn't know. I know you don't do it. So, but when I go into the dispensaries in Inverness, there's one that is particularly extremely busy. So, but in order to, like, let's say that a young person they gotta be at least 18, you know, they wanna go the legal route and get the card and smoke the weed and do it the legal way that we're sorta kinda going into, but they make the card so damn expensive, and then you gotta, every 7 months, you gotta make another payment. So, but you go in these dispensaries, I've been in them where I've sat and waited 30, 40 minutes for them to serve me. Because they're getting so many people who are spending the money on cards, whether they have it or not, because this is their choices. You know, like my doctor told me to go do this, you know, and I think if a doctor tells you, you know, that I'd rather you smoke weed and do it legally than take pain pills because that's worse on you, they shouldn't make it so hard for me to get that. I'm, you know, living on the funds that I do, I have to literally like budget everything just to even do this. Everything has to be so precise. And yeah, we're getting more dispensaries, and we're getting, it's legal, and we're getting that, but the people that can't do it legally because they can't afford it, they're homeless already. How in the world are they going to legally go buy pot? And that is like, you know, the recreational side of it is good, but you've got to make the ability to get to it a little easier. Because if you had like the people in the woods, the people that are living dirt poor, which I am, you know, I mean, I do what I have to do. But if you would make it a little easier, then these people might say, well, you know, I could go get this legally and smoke it legally, and I'm not being a burden on society because I'm putting the money into it, and I'm getting the product to help me, and there's just steps that people that are homeless have to take to get out of that, and the drugs are just so much easier. It's a way to forget, it's a way to escape. So yeah, the financial aspect and the transportation, all of it ties in together. And until they open their eyes and realize, you know, this is for the betterment of a lot of people if they go about it the legal way, we wouldn't have so many people on meth and things because they could just walk in and get the stuff to help them, you know. And I think it's a scary slope there, you know, it's a scary slope, but I think if people in the woods had a choice to buy weed legally, it would take them out of that more dreadful drug that they're attached to, you know. And I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense that you're going to give us a way to go get weed, but you're gonna penalize the people who can't afford to go get it, so they get it the only way they know how.
Yeah.
That's why I think it should be legalized, because then they have more options. But the legalization of it, you know, it always makes you worried. What are they going to legalize next? Are they going to, you know?
Mhm.
But they need to figure out a way to give the people who are struggling a way to have, you know, have a way to, you know, go to the dispensaries and get things to help them and help with their illnesses and problems like that. I literally have an anxiety disorder, and the smoking is why I stopped. I stopped smoking because of the anxiety, I'm sorry. I stopped smoking in 2017 because it was causing me anxiety. But today, because they explain the stuff to you when you go in the dispensaries, I know what to buy to keep me from having anxiety. There's certain things that help with inflammation and pain. And that is one good thing about the weed. It does help you, but they've got to make the steps to get it easier. And I think it would help cure a lot of people being on harder stuff if they could go into a dispensary and get something to help them. Because my anxiety disorder is way better with the choices that I make of what I buy in the dispensary today. And I still have anxiety, but it's not over, smoking weed anymore, because I'm buying the right kind.
Yeah.
And the knowledge is very helpful when they know what to tell you to get. And they have a lot of good deals. So like I can go in there and buy a month's worth for like $60.
Mm-hmm.
And the people on the streets the people in the woods are going to the corners just to get enough to get them something for the day. But if they had that ability to get them something to last them all month long, where it's cheaper and it's more readily available to them, I'm getting a buzz. Even if that's the only reason they're doing this, because they want the buzz, it's not to help them with inflammation or pain or anything. But they have the access to it, and I don't need to do meth because I have weed that I can legally go get, and nobody's going to argue with me. Or, I'm just going to be, I wish that they would make it more available and cheaper to get the card, not the weed, to get the card.
Yeah.
The card would help. It's just aggravating. I don't think that they think about those things. And they want to close the dispensaries, where you're going to go back to the problem that you have where people are buying it illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have a card anymore, because they can't go into a dispensary and buy it now. So they're going to go back to the way they were doing it before, where it was illegal and they were just going out to the woods and getting, or like he said, he lived with a drug dealer. I mean, that's just, it's like, think about it as people in charge. Think about this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I'm going to go spend $60 on something illegal instead of something legal that I'm going to do what I've got to do to make myself feel better.
Yeah. And I think that actually answered the last question too. Because what steps do you think could be taken to resolve the drug problem? And that would be, adding more entertaining things to do around here for young people. And you said more accessible transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to make the steps to getting maybe healthier drugs like medical marijuana easier.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Man, there's like 1,000 things I could add to that, but I'm thinking pharmaceutical type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
That's a big, even the meds that I have to get outside of medical marijuana, because right now I'm dealing with this pinched nerve, so I have to have pain pills and the weed and the chiropractor, because I'm getting through this illness with my leg.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, I'm doing what I've got to take the pain pills. So getting those right now is a struggle, because so many people have abused it for such a long time that to get it today is like a struggle. And I think that there should be some kind of thing put in place where, like, me getting the pain pills, I have to jump through hoops to get it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Mhm.
I just think it needs to be more streamlined to where it's not so, there's always a bad apple in every bunch, and they cause the issue of, no, I can't get pain pills the way I need them. But if the steps were put in place where it was easier to get the prescription pain medicine and people wouldn't abuse it so bad if they had the access, like the people who really need it. I'm not talking about the ones who are just doing it for, to abuse it. If people had an actual reason and they could prove it, take the steps to say this is why I need it, and it was dealt with and taken care of, I think that would be a lot better because, right now it's a struggle to get a pain pill. Like, I went to the emergency room twice in the last month for this issue, and they couldn't send me home with any pain medicine, where in the long past they could. But today they can't. They can only give you something right then and there for that moment. And then you have to get x-rays and things to prove why you need it, because they are so structured now because of the abuse.
Mhm.
But if the abuse would never have happened had things been more available in a lot easier of a way. Make sure there's hoops to jump through, just not so hard that you can't jump through them, and then you go back to buying things illegally.
Mhm.
I think that would be a big improvement. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's steps you need to take to get it, but don't make it so hard. Because honestly, I didn't think my doctor was going to refill this, and he can't refill it the way I need him to. He can only refill it to a certain degree.
Mm.
And my thought the other day was, well, if he doesn't fill it, I'm gonna have to go out on the street and get it because I am in bad pain and I need this. And my thought was, I don't wanna go that route. I don't wanna go the illegal route. I wanna do it legally. I wanna do it the right way.
Mhm.
So those steps need to be put in place where you can get it a little easier, but not as easy,
Yeah.
I think that would help.
And if you get it the illegal way, it's easier to become hooked on it.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Did you want to answer the question?
Sure. I agree with what you said
Thank you.
about the med card. That it's a lot of money to not. It's like 6 months, and you get 6 months where you can buy a certain amount of wax and a certain amount of bud. It's like cost prohibitive to most people that do drugs. And especially if you don't work. I have been there where my allowance is maybe like 40 or 50 bucks, and it's like getting a med card and doing it the legal way doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
It's just as expensive there. It's probably cheaper getting it from someone else
Yep.
that isn't the government.
Yep.
And it's just to have it be legal in the case that like you were walking down the street with it, then it's cheaper to not walk down the street holding it. It also comes down to because in Portugal, in Europe, they have they decriminalized all drugs, and you don't go to prison and do time for having drugs. They take it away, and it's I don't know. I guess it's not really a big deal. I don't really think you get in any kind of trouble. That's my understanding. I think if you went to prison because you were selling drugs or whatever, or you robbed someone to get drugs, you'd probably go to prison and make friends there and come out and do the same things you were doing again with a vengeance.
Yep.
Do you know, sorry,
No,
do you know if that probably decreased drug
it did.
abuse?
That's what I'm told. Is that the decriminalizing it had a positive effect for what they would call the drug problem.
Yeah.
That kind of goes with what Steven said.
Yeah.
How they treat it,
Yeah.
how we should That's like what he said should be done, treat it more like an illness instead of a
Yeah.
crime.
I think it is.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sorry, were you done? I
I
don't
have
want
a
to
little
interrupt
bit
you.
more.
Huh?
I have a little bit.
Oh, go ahead.
I live in Floral City. I have a car now, but I have been stranded there. It's a big place where you really can't get a job unless you have someone to help you. You really can't get a job there. There is nothing to do there. And hearing that from other people, it's like affirmation to like how I already felt. But unless you're going to get high in your house, there's nothing to do in Floral City. You
Exactly.
can go out and walk on the bike trail where there's people in the same situation. Most people there have to ride a bike. The people that walk down the street look like they're on meth because they are. And it seems like a lot of them are homeless. They just go out in the woods. It's a lot of the same story, it seems like, just from looking. I try not to get, there's no reason to get too involved with something like that at the sake of your own safety. But that's what I notice and what I see living there. And there isn't much of an alternative to like how it's going down there. So I think if you were going to fix it, it would be having something else to do. If people could work and make money and live in a normal house that isn't like a mobile home that doesn't have any utilities, then they probably would at some point. If they wanted to help themselves, they probably would, but they can't. And that's all.
I don't remember what I was gonna say earlier.
No.
Oh no, it'll happen. I'll be in the middle of saying something and completely forget what I'm gonna say.
I was talking about how they decriminalized stuff, and that was better. And then I think I talked about Floral City.
Yeah, I just don't remember.
Dang.
It's no big deal. Trust me, I could remember it in 3 hours and go, oh yeah, and it's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the last question,
Oh,
so
okay.
if there's any final thoughts.
I think that people being incarcerated for weed in this day and age is absolutely ridiculous. I think, and honestly, and this is not the same subject, but it's kind of, I had an ex who kept going to jail because he couldn't pay his food, or he couldn't pay for his child support. So he can't vote because he's lost the right to vote. There's people out there who are going to jail for the stupidest things, and they're getting put in there with people who did the worst things,
Yeah.
and they're still in there, and it's like, you're sitting here with dispensaries in this county, but yet you've got people in jail who are smoking weed, when you've got people who are legally allowed to walk in and buy weed. I don't get, the connection is ridiculous. It's like, if you're going to penalize them and put them in jail, then, don't give them such high amounts of time, and, make it where while they're in there, that they can do something to help themselves while they're in there.
Yeah.
Because the jail system is stupid. I mean, you've got people sitting in there who can't come out and do anything because, the world has changed, things are changing, and you're putting people in there because they were caught with weed. But it's okay that if you have a card to smoke weed, but you can't just smoke weed I think it's ridiculous. The justice system is stupid. And they have absolutely no clue what they're doing. And we have all these commissioners and all these people, and I'm not a politics person, but I'm really not into political conversations, but at the same time, some of the stuff that is happening is making people 10 times worse, and people are defying the government because, if you say I'm gonna go to jail for smoking weed, then I might as well smoke it all and, whatever. I mean, it's like people's mindsets are so completely frozen because, what we're dealing with is people who don't understand their butt from a hole in the ground, but they're gonna make all these dumb rules and things and put people in jail for the dumbest things in the world, and then they can't ever get caught up. And they get out and they go back to the same world they were in because they didn't learn anything while they were incarcerated. They didn't get any programs to help them with anything. If they go in there for drugs, then they should have some kind of program while they're in there to, like you go into a support group when like they have a support group for NAMI, like I'm in NAMI, it's the National Association for Mental Illness or whatever the initials are, and you have that stuff on the outside, but you don't offer it inside. And so when they come out, they're going to go back to the exact same life that they were in. Because there's no change. And they feel disgruntled that they were put in there for something as stupid as having marijuana in their car. Big frickin' whoop. I would rather them be smoking weed in their car than drinking beer in their car, because weed, when you do that, you have a lot more control than you do when you're drunk. And so if you're going to incarcerate people for weed or harder drugs, and I can understand the meth and things like that, I can understand that to a point. But don't put people in there because they smoked weed. And if you're going to put people in there for drugs, then give them some kind of a program. Give them some kind of outlet. Give them some kind of way to learn a different way. If that's what you're putting them in there for, then give them those options to learn from their mistakes. So when they come out, they have better choices to make.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like stupid.
Recreational.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
I think they have that in Sweden, where their jails are more like something to help you learn and improve as a person.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect.
Yeah.
If we had that here.
Definitely. Because when my ex went in there for his not paying his child support, he can't even work while he's in there, so he's even further behind than he was. And when he comes out, it's like you feel like that was all for nothing, and I'm even more behind than I was, and I can't vote, and I can't do anything, and I can't, so I might as well just go back out and do what I was doing. I might as well just go back out and get high and say, fuck it, excuse me, say the heck with it. Give people options if you're going to make them go to jail for something that silly. Give them options while they're in there. Let them learn. Give them ways to learn. Give them classes so they can come out and be a productive member of society. If that's what you think you're putting them in jail for, you're not doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
They're going in there and they're coming out in the same manner they went in, and they're angry on top of it. So screw the cops. I'm gonna do what I gotta do anyway, because you didn't even help me. You just put me in jail and forgot about me. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand why people want to come out and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And combining them is a really bad idea.
Definitely.
Because people kill each other in prison. You could be in there for petty theft, like stealing food for your family,
Yeah.
which I don't think is bad at all.
Not at all.
Then you could die for it, because then you got a serial killer in
Yeah.
there.
Definitely. Yeah, if we ran the world, it'd be a lot different, because, because we know what we're talking about. Yeah. We'll vote you as the president.
Oh.
You'll be our first female president.
You should be the president.
Oh, yes.
You'll be the first female president.
All right.
You have a lot more experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Defining the drug problem here, it's not that there are drugs, and it's not that there are people that will do them. It's people in a lifestyle where there's more crime, and you just not a safe neighborhood, having it not be a safe neighborhood because drugs are everywhere. It comes down to more the effects of the people doing the drugs to an extreme, to excess, and why they would do that in the first place. and why they can't break out of doing it, and people around them, and the way you can't escape easily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that drugs are bad in a vacuum. It's more about like the socio, how your neighborhood is affected and how the people around you are.
That is very much a good point. The
Yeah.
neighborhood you're in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like product of your environment.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think having it not be so bad would come from like, it's like individual people trying to have things be less bad and like make a change, outreach, support.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness.
So sorry, it's like really dark, so I'm gonna turn a light on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was worried about your phone because it's really dark in the corner, yeah.
Okay. So I have one more question that I thought of on the spot.
Sure.
It was going off of what you said. So, when you say, I guess what I want to ask is when you say ultimately drugs aren't bad, is it like, are the drugs the problem, or are the people the problem, or like the community?
That's a good question.
Yeah, the drugs are not the problem. The people that would abuse drugs to the point that it affects them and the people around them negatively, falling into that and just being a wasteoid is more of the issue.
Okay.
Like heroin and fentanyl are both from opium, and opium has been around for like more than 1,000 years, and we used to prescribe things like that, and cocaine. So I don't think that they don't have a use. It's more like people looking for a fix, or to they will do that if they don't care.
Yeah.
I think the why is a lot of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it goes back to mental health, well, like a lot. It goes back to the life you were born into. It goes back into, like I mentioned earlier with the human trafficking, they're controlled by the drugs. So when they come out of that, if they ever get out of that situation, they're so heavily into the drug that they can't get off of it. The why of how they got into drugs is, being molested, being, hurt, being abused. Those are reasons that, a lot of people are trying to escape.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the why of why they're on the drugs. The drugs, yeah, it's even in the Bible that they talk about hemp in the Bible. So back in the Bible days, drugs were discussed. I mean, they back in the 50s, I guess it was, they put cocaine in things. They gave medicine way back in Little House on the Prairie days. They had they gave you whiskey if you had to have an operation, because they had to numb it somehow. They didn't have what we have today to put you under. So yeah, it's not really that the drugs are bad. They all have a use.
Yeah.
It's why are you on them? Why did you start? what happened to you that made you go down that route? And if it's mental health, you know, if they got the help that they needed, they'd be able to, you know, come out of that. Maybe
Yeah.
not as easily as, you know, if somebody else could, but, you know, you're giving them you're giving them a different option than what they're doing it for. So I think the why of they're on drugs is a lot worse than are the drugs bad? Yeah, there's some that you shouldn't be on. There's some you shouldn't even attempt to get on, like fentanyl and stuff. But fentanyl has, like, I was watching a video of kids who were put under to get their wisdom teeth removed. And it was a funny video because they were, you know, looped out.
Yeah.
And one kid in the video, he's in the hospital setting, they said, honey, we had to give you fentanyl. He freaked out because in his mind, oh my gosh, you just gave me something that is killing people. And they said, no, we're giving it to you in the hospital the way the hospital does it. It's a whole different world in fentanyl in the hospital than it is on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
There's two different ways that fentanyls can be used. Fentanyl can be used in the hospital setting or in a partying setting where you're dipped over in the road and you can't function. So the why of why you're on it, why are you doing this drug, why did you choose that drug, I think that's the bigger question is why.
Yeah.
Because you know, like I said, cocaine had a purpose back in those days. Hemp had a purpose back in the Bible days. And, you know, like things that are natural, like it says that, you know, weed is something that is produced by nature. It's not chemically made. So, you know, even that has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So drugs do have a purpose. They have a purpose. It's just why are you doing that drug? What is the reason that you started that drug?
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes back to mental health because I needed help with my thoughts, with the things that I've been through, the abuse I've been through, and I couldn't get it. So I took the easiest way out because I had to have something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just really like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think most of it is all drugs are bad in excess.
Yeah.
Like Tylenol isn't what people consider like a hard drug, but you can overdose on anything. I tried to overdose on Tylenol, even though I never did drugs. That wasn't because I was addicted to it, and I didn't get addicted to it. But like that's supposed to help you. And I feel like what I've gotten from this conversation is that I feel like people in general I feel like we don't know anything about drugs anymore because every drug that seems bad today, it was like you were saying, they used to have like a genuine use.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in a perfect world, everyone should be informed about all drugs, how to use them properly, how to not abuse them, how much is too much. But I feel like we've gotten past that point to where it's viewed as something that you can abuse. And it's like it's kind of opened my mind a lot because everything's a drug. Who's to say that heroin is bad, Tylenol is good? They're both drugs.
Right.
They're different drugs, but every
Right.
drug is different. It depends on how you use it.
Right.
And like hard drugs, I feel like hard drugs are just stronger drugs.
Yeah.
And so
And they have their purpose. They have a reason to be made. Like bring up Tylenol, I have liver issues, and I have been taking Tylenol for this issue with my pinched nerve. It's really bad. And it says I can't take more than 8 in a day because it can affect my liver. Well, I already have liver issues.
Mhm.
So that to me is a danger. I mean, so Tylenol is what pregnant women can take. They can't even take ibuprofen. They can only take Tylenol. But Tylenol in itself is a drug. It
Yeah.
may not be heroin, but it is still a drug. It has a purpose.
Yeah.
And you have to be cautious with ibuprofen. I'm not even allowed to take ibuprofen because of my kidneys, but I have been recently because of my issue. So all drugs have a purpose. Yeah, they do have a purpose. But yeah. I love this stuff. I love talking about this stuff.
Are y'all just talking for fun now?
Well,
We're still going.
so, yeah. I think we're about to wrap it up though. But in conclusion, everyone should follow the directions on the bottle.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In a perfect world,
Yeah.
we all would.
Yeah, because I think medical providers are probably the most informed about like I don't know the word, but like chemicals and how it affects you. So when I take medicine, if I have to, I read the instructions and I don't take more than that.
Yeah.
Read all the warnings, but I usually experience the side effects, so I try not to take any prescriptions.
I don't want to say hi to the dog because she'll start barking.
Yeah.
She's so cute. Yeah, we should all be reading, and there's nothing wrong with learning about, it's a good thing to learn, even if you are addicted to heroin, learn all you can about why, we have the internet readily available to us today. Like we didn't have it in the 80s, so you couldn't Google anything, but I think there's always a bad thing with the internet, but there's a good thing with the internet. We can look up and we can be more informed and more advised into what we're doing. If you have an addiction to heroin, Google it and see, could it be something that, some people can go out and do heroin and not do it again for another year, and then there's some people who do it once and they have to do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our chemical makeup, I think, that causes the addiction. It can't be the drug, because if it was the drug, then everybody who did one drug would be extremely affected by it on a daily basis. And even when I was smoking cigarettes, I could go all day without having one.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was stressed to the max, like I had 10 in a row. So our chemical makeup, I think, is what causes the addiction, and we need to look and see why we have, since we have the knowledge in our head and in our phones or whatever, go and research why. Maybe there's a reason you have an addiction to this, and maybe that could help people understand their addictions more and be like, okay, so this this happened to me, and this is, and this is what it's doing to my body, and we may have people in higher places who are controlling things and screwing it up, basically, but we also have the power at our fingertips as well. And I think people should be more informed about their own addictions.
Yeah.
It's great to go to a counselor and sit there and talk about it and get help from them because they've studied it. But at the same time, I like to research stuff for myself, because then it gives me the knowledge of what I need to know about when I have a lot of medicines and I take a lot of vitamins, and I will go in, check the interactions. When they give me a new prescription for something, I go and check it against everything that I'm taking to see, is it going to interact with this? So I use the knowledge that I have at my fingertips to look up stuff for my own sanity, for I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, should take that opportunity to be informed of their own bodies and what's going on in themselves, and know you know, so maybe this is why, maybe my mom had an addiction problem, and so now, you know, I can see why it affected me so bad, and, you know, I think we should use the knowledge if we have it at our fingertips. You know, not everybody has the ability to do that out in the woods, because there's not an internet signal everywhere. But, you know, take the time when you're in a building to, you know, research your own body, your own self, your own mind. You know, there's answers out there for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a good idea for people to be acknowledged of their own self.
Yeah.
Yeah, take every opportunity.
People have different tolerances too.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's part of it.
definitely.
I feel like that means like women are probably more addicted than men, since they have like smaller frames. So
I never thought about that. Yeah,
that might be true.
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
I love these informational conversations.
Me too.
Thank you for inviting me
No
to be a
problem.
part of it. I'm so thankful. I wasn't sure what you were gonna ask.
I'm glad you were
Yeah,
here because
yeah.
you have provided a lot of great insight.
Thank you, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
I'm glad you're here too.
I miss you guys,
Yeah.
you know, and now that you're like right down the street from me, woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
I know we're still in meeting, so I don't wanna get excited, but.
It's okay. I'm about to end it, but it's the opposite. Men are more likely than women to use almost all types of illicit drugs.
Really?
Yeah, the National Institute on Drug Abuse.
Wow. Wow, I never would have known that.
And they're more likely to overdose and die from it. But it says women are just as likely as men to develop a substance use disorder.
Wow.
Oh, and in addition, women may be more susceptible to craving and relapse. So that kind of goes with it, but that's surprising. There's probably underlying.
I wonder if it's
causes.
because, and no offense to men, but women have a lot on their minds. You know, if you have children, you got the children. If you have a husband, you got the husband, and then you got the house, and then if you have to have a job, you got the job. I'm not saying that men don't have a lot on their minds, but women, I think, take on more than they're really should be taking on. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if you take on, because like, you know, I take on schooling and the ministry and the nonprofit and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I have a limit of what else I can handle, and I have to learn my boundaries to say, no, I can't do that, or no, you know, yeah, I can help you with that. But I think women take on more than they really should have to.
Yeah.
And so things affect women a lot different, you know. Yeah.
I was thinking a different route.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like men in the US are more, it's more encouraged for men to hide their feelings, to bury their feelings in
That's
the
true.
United States.
Mhm.
So maybe substance and drug abuse is their way of coping.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because they're not able to get it out, so that's what I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but it could be that as well.
But are we taking it on because we have to, or because we're bored and we're looking for more stuff to get them? We overload ourselves.
It could be generational,
Yeah.
because we,
Yeah.
you know, it was expected, almost required
Yeah.
to raise kids and clean the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that, there's like generational.
I think back in the 50s when women just stayed home and that's all they did, was easier on the women. the men went out and worked, and they had to do the yard, and they had to fix the car, and I think women had it a little easier in the 50s. But today, no, I think women, you know, we have to, especially when you're single with kids, you have to take on everything,
Yeah.
you know, and there are men out there who take on way too much as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think women
Yeah.
today take on way too much more than they can handle, and so the release is, you know,
It's
Yeah.
definitely a person by person basis.
yeah,
But
yeah,
generally
Definitely.
speaking.
yeah.
So I'm gonna end the recording. We can keep talking, but
You gonna stop?
I'm gonna say my final thank yous. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for
This
having me.
will,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It was great.
Yeah, anytime you need me to help you with something like this, I'd love to.
it was very insightful. I might have more interviews for fun.
Yeah, yeah, this is fun. I like stuff like this. Yeah, it gets me out of my my own thoughts.
Yeah, I think it helps you process your thoughts.
And hearing other views, and you know, this, and hearing other people, it's like, you know, it's nice to hear what other people think. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.